Commander Alex Riley stood at the viewing window of Earth Defense Station Alpha, watching the stars. The coffee in his mug had gone cold hours ago. For 6 years, he had commanded this outpost near Jupiter's orbit, and most days were quiet. Today was not one of those days. "Commander, we're picking up an unusual signal," said Officer Donna Martinez, her voice tense. "It doesn't match any known pattern in our database." Riley walked to her station and looked at the display. The signal pulsed in a complex rhythm that seemed deliberate, intelligent. "How far?" he asked. "That's the strange part, sir. It's coming from just beyond Ganymede's orbit. Something is out there, and it's close." Humanity had been traveling through space for only 50 years. They had built colonies on Mars, research stations on the moons of Jupiter, and mining operations in the asteroid belt. But they had never found signs of other intelligent life. Until now. "Alert Earth Command. Set condition yellow throughout the station," Riley ordered. "And get me a visual." The station's most powerful telescopes turned toward the signal source. On the main screen, a shape appeared against the blackness of space. It was sleek, silver, and unlike any spacecraft humans had built. Its surface seemed to flow like liquid metal, with no visible engines or weapons. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission. They're requesting to speak with us." "In English," said Communications Officer Ben Garcia, his eyes wide. Riley took a deep breath. "Put it through." The screen flickered, and Riley found himself looking at a humanoid figure with pale blue skin and large almond-shaped eyes. She wore what appeared to be a formal uniform of some kind, with symbols Riley didn't recognize. "Greetings, Earth Defense Station. I am Ambassador Lyra of the Tellari Confederation. I come with urgent news for your planet's leadership." Riley kept his voice steady. "This is Commander Alex Riley. Your presence is unexpected, Ambassador. We were unaware of other intelligent life in our region of space." The alien smiled, an expression surprisingly similar to a human's. "That was by design, Commander. Your world has been under observation for centuries. The Galactic Council established a non-contact policy regarding Earth long ago. However, circumstances have changed. May I request permission to dock with your station? What I must discuss cannot wait, and should not be transmitted openly." Riley hesitated. First contact situations were covered in training, but no one had expected them to actually happen. "Stand by, Ambassador," he said, then muted the transmission. "Sir, what do we do?" asked Martinez. "This isn't in the protocol manual." Riley activated the secure line to Earth Command. After a brief, tense conversation with the Secretary of Defense, he received his orders. "Ambassador Lyra," Riley said, reopening the channel. "You are cleared to dock at Bay 3. A small diplomatic team will meet you there." 4 hours later, Riley sat across from the alien ambassador in the station's conference room. She had brought no weapons and had submitted to a basic scan that showed she was indeed biological, though her internal structure was different from a human's. "Earth sits at a crucial juncture in space," Lyra explained, displaying a holographic map of stars Riley didn't recognize. "A war has begun between powerful forces. The Galactic Council has maintained a protective quarantine around your solar system for reasons I am not authorized to fully explain. That protection is failing." "Why come to us now?" Riley asked. Lyra's expression grew worried. "Because the Council is in panic, Commander. They fear what will happen if Earth becomes involved in this war. Are we in danger?" "Everyone is in danger," she said. "But the Council's message is clear. Earth must be kept out of this war, at all costs. I need to speak with your world leaders immediately." Riley watched her carefully. She seemed genuinely afraid, not of humans, but of something else. "I've been ordered to escort you to Earth," he said. "We leave in 1 hour." As they prepared for departure, Riley noticed Lyra sending encrypted transmissions back to her ship. She caught him watching and quickly said, "The Council is waiting for updates. They are anxious about this meeting." Riley nodded, but a feeling of unease settled in his stomach. Whatever had the Galactic Council so worried about Earth's involvement in their war, he suspected they weren't telling the whole truth. The United Earth headquarters in Geneva gleamed in the morning sunlight. Commander Riley stood behind Ambassador Lyra as they were escorted through security checkpoints. He noticed how the alien diplomat kept looking around, studying everything with a mixture of curiosity and worry. "Your architecture is quite beautiful," she said softly. "So different from our structures." Riley nodded. This building was designed to represent unity among all Earth nations. It was built 50 years ago, after the climate wars ended. Lyra's eyes widened slightly. "You had global wars and survived as a unified species. Interesting." Before Riley could ask what she meant, the doors to the main chamber opened. Inside, President Olivia Bennett and the 12 members of the Security Council waited. Their faces showed a mix of wonder and caution at the sight of the blue-skinned alien. "Ambassador Lyra," President Bennett said, rising from her seat, "welcome to Earth. I understand you bring urgent news." Lyra bowed slightly. "Thank you for receiving me, President Bennett. What I must share will change how you view the universe forever." A technician set up Lyra's holographic projector in the center of the room. The lights dimmed, and suddenly the chamber was filled with stars, planets, and glowing lines connecting them. "This is our galaxy," Lyra explained. "There are over 200 intelligent species spread across thousands of worlds. For the past 3,000 years, most have lived in relative peace under the guidance of the Galactic Council." The hologram zoomed in on a specific region. 2 large areas lit up in different colors, one red, one blue. 2 weeks ago, war broke out between the Vortian Empire and the Meridian Alliance. Both are powerful, spanning hundreds of star systems. The Council has tried to contain the conflict, but it's spreading rapidly. President Bennett leaned forward. "This is all fascinating, Ambassador, but what does it have to do with Earth? We haven't even traveled beyond our own solar system yet." Lyra touched the controls, and the hologram shifted to show Earth's solar system. A faint bubble surrounded it. "Your world sits at a strategic point between the warring factions. The only reason they haven't noticed you yet is because of this. A quarantine zone established around your solar system over 500 years ago." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. "You've been keeping us isolated. Why?" asked Defense Secretary Alan Moss, his voice sharp. Lyra's expression grew uncomfortable. "That's complicated. What matters now is that the quarantine is failing as the war expands. The Council sent me to deliver a clear message. Earth must remain neutral and invisible at all costs." President Bennett stood up and walked around the table. "You travel across space to tell us to hide. I think we deserve to know why the Council seems so afraid of our involvement." Lyra looked down for a moment, then met the President's gaze. "Very well. The truth is that humans possess certain characteristics that have the Council deeply concerned." "What characteristics?" Riley asked from his position near the wall. "Your species evolved differently than most intelligent life," Lyra said. "Most sentient beings in the galaxy developed intelligence as a way to avoid conflict and cooperate. Humans developed intelligence while remaining." She searched for the word. "Competitive, aggressive, adaptable to violence in ways most species are not." Council member Rita Johnson scoffed. "So we're too violent for your galactic community. We've spent centuries working to overcome our violent tendencies." "That's just it," Lyra replied. "You recognize your capacity for war as a problem to solve. You study it, perfect it, even as you claim to reject it. Most species in the galaxy never developed military strategy beyond the most basic concepts. Humans write thousands of books on warfare. You train for it constantly." President Bennett crossed her arms. "And you think if we get involved in this war, we'll make it worse? The Council's simulations suggest that human involvement would change the nature of the conflict entirely. You might even win, despite your technological disadvantage. That possibility terrifies everyone." Riley watched the faces of Earth's leaders. Some looked offended, others intrigued. President Bennett just looked thoughtful. "Thank you for your honesty, Ambassador," she finally said. "We'll need time to discuss this." As the meeting adjourned, Riley caught Lyra looking at him strangely. "What is it?" he asked. "I studied your history," she said quietly. "No other species goes from first flight to landing on their moon in just 66 years. What will you do with the stars, I wonder?" Captain Samantha Reeves stood on the bridge of the survey ship Eagle, staring at the floating debris on the main screen. The Eagle was mapping the outer edges of the Kuiper Belt when they had detected unusual metal fragments that didn't match any known Earth materials. "What do you think, Dr. Ward?" she asked her science officer. Nathan Ward adjusted his glasses and studied the sensor readings. "Definitely not one of ours, Captain. The alloy composition is like nothing in our database. And look at these energy readings. Whatever this was, it used a power source far beyond our technology." Samantha tapped her fingers on the console. Earth Command had issued clear orders after Ambassador Lyra's visit. Avoid all contact with alien vessels and report any sightings immediately. But the scientist in her couldn't just ignore this discovery. "Take us closer," she decided, "but maintain alert status. If anything moves out there, we jump to safety immediately." As the Eagle approached the debris field, they saw it wasn't just random fragments. It was the remains of a battle. 2 different types of ships had fought here, leaving wreckage scattered across 5 kilometers of space. "Captain, I'm detecting a power signature," called out Ensign Peter Kim from the sensor station. "It's faint, but it's there. Coordinates uploading to your display now." Samantha saw it, a small craft, mostly intact, drifting among the debris. It looked like an escape pod. "Is anyone alive in there?" she asked. Ward ran a scan. One life sign, very weak. "Captain, if someone's in there, they won't last long. That pod's life support is failing." Samantha knew the rules. She also knew she couldn't leave someone to die if she could help them. "Bring it into Cargo Bay 2. Dr. Ward, meet me there with a medical team. Full quarantine protocols." 30 minutes later, Samantha watched as Ward carefully opened the alien escape pod. Inside was a humanoid figure wearing what looked like battle armor. The alien's skin was pale gold, with ridge-like patterns on its face. It was badly injured, with blue blood seeping from wounds in its chest and leg. "He's dying," Ward said, scanning the alien with medical equipment. "His biology is different from ours, but similar enough that I might be able to stabilize him." "Do what you can," Samantha ordered. 2 hours later, the alien was in the ship's medical bay, connected to machines adapted to keep him alive. Ward had worked miracles with limited knowledge of alien physiology. "His armor has markings that might be military rank," Ward explained. "Based on Ambassador Lyra's briefing, I think he's from the Meridian Alliance." Suddenly, the alien's eyes fluttered open. They were bright violet, with vertical pupils. He looked around wildly, then focused on Samantha and Ward. Terror filled his face. "Where am I?" he asked in a raspy voice, speaking perfect English to their surprise. "You're on the Earth vessel Eagle," Samantha said calmly. "We found your escape pod and brought you aboard for medical treatment. I'm Captain Reeves." The alien tried to move, then winced in pain. "Earth. Humans." His voice rose in panic. "You're the forbidden ones. The Warborn." Ward stepped closer. "What do you mean by that? Who are you?" "Lieutenant Kiro, Meridian Defense Force," the alien said weakly. "You shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be involved." Before he could explain further, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. "Captain, multiple ships just appeared on our sensors." Kim's voice came over the comm. "They're heading straight for us. Fast." Samantha rushed back to the bridge, leaving Ward with their patient. On the screen, she saw 3 vessels, their designs angular and predatory, moving toward the Eagle with clear purpose. "They're hailing us," Kim reported. On screen, Samantha ordered. The image changed to show a reptilian face with yellow eyes and scaled skin. The alien wore black armor with red symbols. Human vessel, the alien said, its voice deep and harsh. I am Commander Zex of the Fortune battle cruiser Deathbringer. You have something that belongs to us. Surrender the Meridian soldier immediately, or we will take him by force. Samantha straightened her back. This is Captain Reeves. We rescued an injured survivor from a destroyed vessel. He's under our medical care and protection, according to Earth diplomatic protocols. The Vorchin commander laughed, showing rows of sharp teeth. You have no standing here, human. Your species is quarantined for good reason. Hand over the Meridian, or we will destroy your primitive vessel. The alien cut the transmission. Samantha looked at her bridge crew, seeing fear mixed with determination on their faces. Battle stations, she ordered. Whatever happens next, we're not giving up our patient without a fight. Dr. Karen Murphy wiped sweat from her forehead as she worked to save the alien's life. As the top xenobiologist at Earth's central medical facility, she had been rushed to the military base where the Eagle had landed after its narrow escape from the Fortune ships. His condition is stabilizing, she told Commander Riley, who stood nearby watching. His biology is fascinating. Different from ours, but with surprising similarities. Lieutenant Kiro lay unconscious on the medical bed, connected to machines that beeped steadily. His golden skin had a slight glow under the bright lights. Will he survive? Riley asked. Yes, I think so. And that's the interesting part. Karen pointed to a scan showing the alien's cellular structure. Look at this. His body is healing itself at an accelerated rate. I've never seen anything like it. Riley leaned closer to the display. Are all Meridians like this? I don't think so. From what I can tell, he has genetic modifications, engineered healing abilities. Karen's eyes were bright with excitement. But there's more. While studying his DNA, or their equivalent of it, I found markers that suggest his species shares a distant common ancestor with several Earth species. That's impossible, Riley said. I thought so too, but the evidence is right here. Karen showed him another scan. It's like finding a missing link between evolutionary branches that should never have connected. Their conversation was interrupted when Kiro suddenly opened his eyes. He looked around, more calm than during his first awakening on the Eagle. Where am I now? He asked weakly. Earth, Riley answered. You're safe. I'm Commander Riley, Earth Defense Force. This is Dr. Murphy. She's been treating your injuries. Kiro attempted to sit up. Karen helped him adjust the bed. The Vorchin ships, he asked. The Eagle managed to escape, Riley said. Captain Reeves used the asteroid field to lose them. Smart tactics. Kiro nodded slowly. Not surprising. Humans are known for their resourcefulness. Riley pulled a chair closer to the bed. You called us the war-born before. What did you mean? The alien was quiet for a moment, as if deciding how much to say. Finally, he spoke. You deserve to know the truth. Your species is feared throughout the galaxy. Why? Karen asked. We've barely left our solar system. It's not what you've done. It's what you are. Kiro's violet eyes looked tired but clear. Long ago, before your recorded history, scientists from an ancient civilization visited Earth. They took genetic samples from your early ancestors. What they discovered caused great concern. Riley crossed his arms. What did they find? That humans evolved on what we call a death world, a planet of exceptional harshness. Kiro gestured weakly with his hand. Most sentient species evolved in gentle environments where cooperation was the key to survival. But humans, we evolved as prey animals, Karen said suddenly, understanding dawning on her face. Yes, Kiro confirmed. Prey animals that became predators through intelligence and adaptability. Your fight-or-flight responses, your ability to ignore pain, your endurance, these traits are unmatched in the galaxy. Riley shook his head. That can't be why we're quarantined. Many species must have evolved under harsh conditions. None that achieved space travel, Cairo replied. The Galactic Council ran simulations after discovering your world. They showed that humans involved in interstellar war would rapidly outperform even veteran spacefaring civilizations. How? Karen asked. Your species learns from conflict and grows stronger. The rest of us just die. Kiro's voice was solemn. You call it adaptation. We call it terrifying. Riley was silent, processing this information. And now we're caught between two sides of an alien war. It's worse than that, Kiro said. Both the Vorchan and Meridian leadership want humans on their side. The Vorchan would use you as frontline shock troops. My people would use your adaptability to develop new weapons and tactics. And the Council? Karen asked. They fear that once humans enter the galactic stage through war, nothing will ever be the same again. Kiro looked directly at Riley. They may try to neutralize your world rather than let that happen. Riley's communicator beeped. He answered it, listened for a moment, then turned back to Kiro with a grim expression. It seems we don't have much time to prepare. The Vorchan have just attacked our Martian colony. President Bennett stood at the head of the emergency meeting table, her face grim as she looked at the holographic display showing the damage to the Mars colony. 23 dead, hundreds injured, and vital life support systems damaged by the Vorchan attack. They hit us without warning, General Frank Diaz said, his voice tight with anger. Simple survey outposts with no weapons. This was a massacre. The room was filled with military leaders and government officials, all watching footage of the alien ships firing on the defenseless colony domes. What are our options? President Bennett asked. Admiral Laura Patel, head of the Space Command, stood up. Our fleet is limited, Madam President. We have 27 combat-capable ships, but they were designed for conflicts with other human vessels, not alien technology. General Diaz slammed his fist on the table. We need to strike back immediately. Show these Vorchan we won't be bullied. And start a war we can't win. Admiral Patel countered. We need to be smart about this. The door opened, and Ambassador Lyra hurried in, her blue skin pale with stress. I just received word of the attack. Please, you must not retaliate. President Bennett's eyes narrowed. They attacked our colony, killed our people. Why shouldn't we respond? Because that's exactly what they want, Lyra explained. The Vorchan are testing you, provoking you. If humans enter this war, it will escalate beyond anything the galaxy has seen. General Diaz laughed bitterly. You've been telling us how dangerous we are. Maybe it's time to show these Vorchan you were right. Before Lyra could respond, a young officer entered the room. Madam President, we're receiving a transmission from another alien vessel. They say they represent the Meridian Alliance. President Bennett nodded. Put it through. The main screen changed to show a golden-skinned alien with elegant features, similar to Lieutenant Kiro, but with elaborate decorations on his face. Greetings, leaders of Earth. I am High Commander Valen of the Meridian Alliance. We offer our deepest sympathies for the cowardly Vorchan attack on your colony. What do you want, Commander? President Bennett asked directly. To offer an alliance. The Vorchan have violated your sovereignty. They will not stop with one attack. Join with us, and we will provide technology and protection. Together, we can end their aggression. General Diaz leaned forward. What kind of technology? Valen smiled. Weapons beyond your current capabilities. Defensive systems for your planets. Faster than light travel. Ambassador Lyra stepped in front of the screen. President Bennett, the Galactic Council strongly advises against any such alliance. Both sides merely wish to use human potential for their own gain. The Meridian commander's expression hardened at the sight of Lyra. The Council kept humanity isolated and vulnerable. Now they ask you to remain defenseless while your people are killed. Is that what you want? The room fell silent as all eyes turned to President Bennett. She stood straight, her decision clear in her eyes. We will consider all options, including your offer, Commander Valen. But Earth will make its own decisions based on our interests, not the Council's fears or your war strategies. After the transmission ended, an aide approached with an urgent message. Madam President, the Galactic Council has called for an emergency session. They've invited Earth representatives to attend for the first time in history. Ambassador Lyra looked surprised. This is unprecedented. The Council must be truly concerned. As they discussed the invitation, another emergency call came through. Admiral Patil answered it, her face growing more serious by the second. Madam President, she said after ending the call. The U.S. Defiant was on patrol near Neptune when they detected a large Vorchan fleet entering our solar system. Captain Joe Collins reports they appear to be positioning for a major attack on Earth. How many ships? General Diaz asked. At least 50, sir. Far more than we can handle. President Bennett took a deep breath. Order all available ships to defensive positions. Evacuate coastal cities as a precaution. The Defiant is requesting permission to engage. To buy us time, Admiral Patil added. That's suicide, Lyra whispered. General Diaz looked at the tactical display. Maybe, but without delaying action, those ships will reach Earth before we can prepare. President Bennett closed her eyes briefly, then gave the order. Tell Captain Collins to do what he can. And may God help us all. Hours later, stunning news arrived. The Defiant hadn't just survived. It had damaged 3 Vorchan vessels and forced the others to regroup. Captain Collins had used Earth's asteroid belt in ways the aliens had never seen before, turning space debris into weapons. President Bennett led the small Earth delegation through the massive entrance of the Galactic Council headquarters. The space station orbited a star near Proxima Centauri, the closest stellar neighbor to Earth's sun. They had traveled here in Lyra's diplomatic vessel, the journey taking only hours thanks to technology humans had only dreamed about until now. Ambassador William Hayes walked beside the president, trying to hide his awe at the station's size and beauty. Curved walls of shimmering material rose hundreds of meters overhead. Light played through crystal-like structures, creating rainbows across the polished floor. Remember, Lyra whispered to them, many species here have never seen a human before. Some will be afraid. Others will be curious. A few may be hostile. As they entered the main chamber, all conversation stopped. Representatives from 47 different species turned to stare at the humans. Some had multiple eyes, others had no visible eyes at all. They ranged from small, insect-like beings to massive creatures that towered over the humans. They're so different, Hayes whispered. I never imagined. Yet most share common ancestors millions of years ago, Lyra explained. Evolution took different paths on different worlds. A tall, slender alien with purple skin and 4 arms approached the center of the chamber. Symbols of office hung from its neck. I am Supreme Counselor Xenta, it announced in a melodic voice that echoed through the room. For 10,000 years, we have maintained peace through balance. Humans upset that balance. President Bennett stepped forward. We did not ask to be drawn into your war. The Vorchan attacked our colony without provocation. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Sente raised all 4 hands for quiet. Historical records show that predator species like yours have caused extinction-level wars when introduced to galactic politics, the counselor stated. The quarantine was established for the safety of all. Hayes moved to stand beside President Bennett. With respect, Counselor, you made decisions about our species without our knowledge or consent. You kept us isolated based on simulations and assumptions. A reptilian delegate hissed from across the chamber. Humans are dangerous. The Defiant vessel destroyed 3 Vorchan warships with primitive technology. Imagine what they would do with advanced weapons. We defended ourselves, President Bennett replied firmly. As is our right. Another alien, this one floating in a tank of green liquid, spoke through a translator device. The Council has historical data on 17 aggressive species that gained space travel. 15 caused major wars within a decade. 2 destroyed themselves before reaching other stars. And how many were contacted peacefully? Hayes asked. How many were offered friendship instead of fear? Silence answered his question. Hayes moved to the center of the chamber, activating a small projector he had brought. Images appeared in the air, Earth's art, music, literature, and scientific achievements. We evolved through conflict, yes, he acknowledged. But we've spent our history trying to overcome it. We've created beauty alongside our weapons. We've explored our world and reached for the stars not just to conquer, but to understand. As he spoke, the images changed to show Earth's cities, farms, and natural wonders. Children playing. People of different races working together. Judge us by what we've built, not just what you fear we might destroy, Hayes concluded. The chamber had grown quiet, many delegates watching the images with apparent interest. Then an alarm sounded, and a holographic display appeared at the center of the room. Emergency alert, announced an automated voice. Both Vorchan and Meridian battle fleets have altered course. They are converging on Earth's solar system. The chamber erupted in chaos. Species that had been sitting quietly now shouted and gestured wildly. Silence, commanded Senta. This is what we feared. Both sides seek to claim human military potential. An insectoid delegate rose on thin legs. We must enforce the quarantine. Neutralize the human world before either side can use them. Neutralize. President Bennett's voice cut through the noise. You mean destroy Earth? It would be regrettable but necessary, the insectoid replied coldly. For galactic stability. Hayes stood tall, facing the council. You kept us in the dark and created this situation. Now we'll solve it our way. President Bennett nodded in agreement. Earth will defend itself against the Vorchan, the Meridian, or anyone else who threatens us, including this council. As the humans turned to leave, Senta called after them. What do you intend to do? President Bennett paused at the doorway. What humans have always done when faced with impossible odds. Adapt and overcome. Admiral Laura Patel stood on the bridge of the Earth flagship Freedom, watching the tactical display with intense focus. Earth's combined fleet of 35 ships formed a defensive line between Earth and the approaching alien armadas. Each dot on the screen represented a vessel filled with brave men and women ready to protect their home. Status report, she ordered. Vorchan fleet approaching from Sector 4, 73 ships, reported her tactical officer. Meridian fleet approaching from Sector 9, 68 ships. Both will be in weapons range within 2 hours. Patel nodded calmly, though she knew the odds they faced. Earth ships were smaller, slower, and less powerful than the alien vessels, but they had advantages the aliens didn't expect. Begin Operation Slingshot, she commanded. All ships to their assigned positions. In the medical lab aboard the Freedom, Dr. Ward worked alongside Lieutenant Kiro, who had volunteered to help Earth despite his injuries. They bent over communication equipment, making final adjustments. This should allow us to pierce their jamming technology, Ward explained to the Admiral via video link. We can broadcast directly to their soldiers, show them what their leaders are hiding. Kiro nodded. Many in both fleets don't understand why they're fighting. This war began because of greed, not necessity. Admiral Patel turned to her communications officer. Is President Bennett ready? Yes, Mom. Her message is prepared and standing by. Then we proceed as planned. All ships maintain defensive positions. Do not fire unless fired upon. As the alien fleets approached, a tense silence fell over Earth's defenders. They were vastly outnumbered, but surrender was not an option. In the depths of space near Jupiter, Captain Joe Collins and the U.S. Defiant led a small group of ships on a different mission. Using the tactics that had proven successful before, they stayed hidden among the moons and rings of the gas giant. All teams in position, Collins asked. Yes, sir, his first officer confirmed. Ready on your command. Collins studied the approaching Vorchan fleet. Begin Phase 1. Silent running until we reach the target. The Defiant and 5 other ships slipped away from their hiding places, engines dampened to avoid detection. Their target, the massive command ship, the center of the Fortune fleet. Back at Earth, Admiral Patel watched as the alien fleets came into range. Prepare for contact. Activate Dr. Ward's transmitter. Across both enemy fleets, confusion spread as Earth's broadcast bypassed their security systems. On every ship, screens activated without permission. President Bennett's face appeared, speaking clearly and directly. People of the Vorchan Empire and Meridian Alliance, I am Olivia Bennett, President of United Earth. Your leaders have brought you to our home to fight a war based on lies. We have proof. The broadcast shifted to show documents recovered by Captain Collins on a previous mission. Financial records, secret communications, and military orders scrolled across alien screens. Evidence showed that corrupt officials from both governments had engineered the conflict for profit and power. This war was created by those who benefit from your suffering. President Bennett continued. Earth chooses not to be part of this deception. We stand ready to defend our home, but we would rather find peace. In the Vorchan command ship, Captain Collins and his team completed their daring mission. They captured the ship's bridge and secured vital intelligence confirming everything in Bennett's message. Send the final proof, Collins ordered. His communications officer transmitted images directly from the Vorchan command center, showing the conspiracy laid bare in the ship's own records. Throughout both fleets, ships began breaking formation. Some commanders ordered weapons power down. Others maintained attack positions but hesitated to advance. Admiral Patel watched the changing patterns on her display. It's working, she said quietly. A transmission came through from the largest Meridian vessel. This is High Commander Valen. We request a ceasefire and direct communication with Earth leadership. Minutes later, a similar message arrived from the remaining Vorchan command structure. Patel allowed herself a small smile. Open channels to both. Inform President Bennett that her strategy worked. Across the galaxy, the Galactic Council watched in stunned silence. What they had feared most, human involvement in the war, had instead brought the first real chance for peace. They think differently, Lyra explained to the shocked council members. Where we see inevitable conflict, they see potential solutions no one has tried. The Supreme Counselor Xenta spoke softly. Perhaps we have much to learn from these humans after all. 3 months after first contact, representatives from Earth, the Vorchan Empire, and the Meridian Alliance gathered in the Grand Meeting Hall of the Galactic Council Station. The room was filled with beings from across the galaxy, all watching as history unfolded before them. President Bennett stood at the center table with High Commander Valen of the Meridian and Acting Warlord Kraz of the Vorchan. Each leader held a silver pen designed specifically for this moment. With these signatures, President Bennett said, we end a conflict that threatened to consume countless lives across the galaxy. One by one, they signed the document. The Peace of Sol, it was called, named after Earth's sun as a recognition of humanity's role in creating it. The treaty included unprecedented requirements for transparency in government and military activities, as well as demilitarized zones between the territories of both powers. Ambassador Hayes had spent weeks crafting these provisions, drawing on Earth's long history of peace treaties. Many alien diplomats had been shocked by his suggestions at first, calling them naive or impossible to enforce. But that's the point, Hayes had explained. Peace isn't maintained by perfect enforcement. It's built on creating systems where peace becomes more advantageous than war. As the ceremony concluded, Supreme Counselor Xenta approached the podium. The chamber fell silent. For 10,000 years, the Galactic Council has worked to maintain balance among the stars. Today, we acknowledge that our methods have not always been wise. Xenta turned to face the human delegation. Earth's quarantine status is hereby lifted. We offer full membership rights to humanity among the galactic community. Applause filled the chamber, though some delegates remained silent, still wary of human involvement in galactic affairs. Xenta raised all 4 hands for quiet. However, a special provision has been added to Earth's membership. In times of galactic conflict, Earth will serve as neutral mediator rather than combatant. President Bennett stepped forward to address the Council. We accept these terms. You feared we would become the galaxy's greatest warriors. Instead, we'll strive to be its most dedicated peacekeepers. Later that day, plans were announced for a new galactic security force. Ships with mixed species crews tasked with maintaining the peace. General Diaz would oversee the training program, teaching aliens and humans to work together. It won't be easy, he told President Bennett as they watched the new recruits arriving. Some of these species have been enemies for centuries. If humans can overcome our violent past, she replied, so can they. Ambassador Hayes was appointed as Earth's permanent representative to the Council, a position he accepted with both pride and humility. We have much to learn, he said in his acceptance speech, and much to share. As the formalities ended and the delegates dispersed, Commander Riley found Ambassador Lyra on the observation deck of the station. They stood side by side, watching ships from dozens of worlds arriving for the upcoming diplomatic summit. I remember when you first arrived at our station, Riley said. You were so worried about humans getting involved in the war. Lyra nodded. The Council had run thousands of simulations. In every scenario, human involvement led to more death, more destruction, never to peace. What was missing from your simulations? Creativity, compassion, the ability to see beyond the patterns of the past. Lyra turned to face him. You were right to be afraid of us, Riley admitted. But for the wrong reasons. We don't want to conquer the stars. We just want to understand them. Lyra's expression softened. That's precisely what makes your species so terrifying and so necessary. Below them, the first class of the new Galactic Security Force marched in formation. Humans alongside Fortune, Meridian, Tellari, and a dozen other species, all wearing the same uniform. Will it last? Riley asked, watching them. I don't know, Lyra admitted. Peace is never guaranteed. No, Riley agreed, but it's always worth fighting for. As they turned to leave, a message arrived for Commander Riley. Earth was beginning construction on its first faster-than-light ship, designed with technology shared by their new allies. They wanted him to command it. The ship's name was already decided, Hope. Riley smiled as he read the message. Humanity's journey among the stars was just beginning, and despite everything, he was optimistic about where it might lead. Not bad, he thought, for a species everyone wanted to keep out of the war.